latches today. The only problem is there isn't anywhere to put one because I insisted on having a window. I kind of, well, I've only got two areas really. Down here, latch, and another one somewhere up here. Unless I run a cable, then I can go here. There and there, so we could put effectively a latch here which pulls a rod there, and then with some pulleys, a cable up there. Just not sure how I'd pull that off, and the only mechanisms I've got for the job, as you know, I say cables, we could do it with rods as well, but not as smooth. I've got two moggy doors, and that's what's inside them. So we could effectively utilise that for the first handle if we cut the other one out. And I mean, we can't use the Morris handle because it don't lock on the back. It's lockable from inside. You flick up the arm, I think, and that piece here moves up and stops the outside from opening it up. Where are we? Where did I put the buggers? There we go. So we've got a choice of locks. This apparently came off an old Morris, but first thing it looked like a garage door to me. Then we've got this one. I have the key for that. That would probably look better on the vehicle than anything else, but they're not strong, not really. So what I plan to do also, just to stop the thieves, or just to delay the thieves, I think that's the case of delaying them, not never stopping them really, is I'm going to run some linear actuators in there, and I'm going to run two spring-loaded bolts. One that bolts the left side of the door that way, and one that bolts the right hand side of the door. So even if they break the hinges open, they've still got to get through two bolts. Can't climb through the window unless they're super skinny. But I'm actually planning to put a couple of bars in front of that to protect the glass, so they've got to break through that. The only other way in, I suppose, is through the walls. 2.5mm metal. That's going to be a pig to cut by hand. Or through the driver's door, and I plan to do the same there as well with linears. So this is not me setting a challenge out before anyone starts saying. I'm just saying I'm trying to make it as hard as I possibly can for anybody to bust in. I've spent a lot of money and time on this truck, and I don't want it flipping vandaled or stolen, obviously. However, the initial main door lock, why am I making it so complicated? I mean, that's a whopping great lump of metal, but it's really, really spring loaded and extremely strong. This one's a bit weaker. And I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, well, do they really have to be on the inside? Why can't I put them on the outside? Build a little tiny box that's welded to the outside of the door, because after all, it's a rugged off-roader. Just because everybody else puts the locks on the inside, why do I need to do that? Not quite how I had it planned, but I would have liked that to have gone a lot further than that. I mean, if we can cut that window wall out, then that will be dead level. Otherwise it's going to overhang a little bit, which means the gap between the door and the wall will always be that, because it has to get past that, and we can't do anything with it. So could mould that into the back of the window space there. We could do that. I don't know if it would be what I think we should. Yeah, we will. Right, well, if I'm honest, I think I'm about as far as I can go with this. That's now welded in place. We've taken out the studs that were holding that on. There is the holes there for them, and I've lost those, and I've put in some screws instead. The next stage of this is to make a big cover plate to go over the top, but because I'm a little bit confused at this point in time where the rubber seal is going to sit, to where the door handle is going to be poking out, I think the best thing I can do is nothing. I think we're done. It's all greased up in there. So the cover plate, it's got to be quite a thick one really. I've left enough room underneath so I can put an internal door handle on, because we've got one of them. A bit of a scruffy old affair. Where is it? There it is. That one goes on the inside. I've got to put the screw back in. Someone's bodged it. So I've got to tap and put a new screw in, a proper one. And then the plate that's going to go on top here, well, I'm not sure how it's going to work, because I don't want people to be able to undo it. So ideally I need to drill a hole, 4 holes, and then I need to run a nut and bolt through, but weld them up on that, and then have them poke out the other side, and then do some nuts up on the other side. That's one way about it. The other one is cover plate, drill some big holes in here, put some connecting nuts on the cover plate, slot them through, and then run the screws from the inside to the outside. That's the only other way I can think of doing it. And then this can be mounted to the cover plate, and then we can grease up, once we're painted, we can grease all of this up, and we'll be good to go. Now if water gets inside this tube, it don't matter, because this is on the outside edge of the rubber seal, so I'm not overly bothered by that. So I've greased up the internal mechanism. It never had any grease in there. That's all greased up, so that's good to go. There just isn't much of this sticking out. That's the only thing that's bothering me about it. And there is a large distance between the wall and this, so the plate, and it's also very close to the surface as well. So I just don't know how this is going to go at the moment. I can't do any better than what I've already done. I mean, it sits flush. Maybe I should have gone, well no, I couldn't even do that because there's a rubber seal going. I mean, I could have pushed that all the way through really and had it bolted in from that side, but then the seals wouldn't work. So this was the best my thinking could go. So the next job is the spare wheel holder. Now I need to establish where that's going, so that's for tomorrow. Once we put that on, we'll put it back on the back of the truck, eyeball it all up. We've just got to cut this area here on the outside, because this sticks out over the back, and it's also a little bit high there anyway, so I want to cut that back and slope it at an angle so there's less metal, and then the water coming off the roof, if it does find its way off the roof, will run down the door and not on the inside of the seal and find its way inside at some point, which is what I'm worried about. So that job needs to be sorted out. That'll be plasma cutter, I reckon. We'll lay that across the floor here and just shoot straight over the top and a quick grind back with a belt sander, and then that should be enough. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut along there and up there, and we're going to get rid of this piece of metal completely. And then we'll put a piece of metal in here, the same thickness as what this is, and then we'll trim this up accordingly, so that will slope that way possibly as well. Not really sure how this is all going to pan out at the moment. But the skin will go over and it will be gently pulled and butt welded all the way around there. So I suspect this is going to have to go down at an angle as well. The seal sits behind here, so I'm not overly bothered. And I've got to grind all the welds back behind to get them all smooth, the ones that are in the way. So, and I said that a lot of the welds are like that kind of weld. And I was a little generous with the truth. Not all of them are like that. I had noticed that I had cocked a few up. I've had some problems with the welder. The tips are absolutely shot and I haven't been able to replace them yet. So, and the shrouder's knackered as well. That's one of the reasons. The other one is, well, I ain't got any more excuses, so I'm not making any. So that's it for this video. It's a very short one, I think. So I would just like to say again, and as I always say, thank you very much for your views, your likes and your shares, and we'll catch you on the next one. Laters.